is a time for daffodils, hot cross buns, spring lambs, chocolate eggs, when we all remember how the Easter lamb laid a chocolate egg that was hidden in a tomb, then stolen. Then, what happened then, Abigail?
None of that happened, Bethany, except in your head.
Oh, so what is Easter about?
Well, I'm glad you asked. Easter is all about how Jesus lives.
I thought Jesus died.
He did, but now he's alive. If you only remember one thing from this story, and even that seems optimistic, just remember that Jesus is alive. This story is in all 4 of the Gospels.
Oh, Abigail, I know these. Matthew, John, Paul, Ringo, Hermione?
No, Bethany. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. We're going to follow Luke's account. So we're in the city of Jerusalem, which is on the edge of the Roman Empire. And a lot of people aren't very happy about that. It's about 36 AD, and it's about tea time. This meal is also known as the Last Supper.
I feared the worst. When 13 blokes book the party room, it's normally pretty grim in there afterwards, especially when they order wine. Although apparently this Jesus can make his own. Lots of it. And bread. Don't ask me how. My husband Isaac can barely make a pizza when he has all the ingredients. Anyway, it was a very quiet evening in the end. I was not listening at the door. This one was a bit too thick. But it didn't sound like much of a party, which is weird. I mean, it's Passover. I know, it's all about the wine these days. But it's meant to be a celebration, isn't it? My mum used to tell me the Passover story about how our people were slaves in Egypt, but God rescued us and brought us out into the desert where he fed us with bread, which would be lying on the ground every morning. Imagine that. So if you're stuck somewhere you don't want to be, forced to be indoors when there's a plague passing, remember, there's always hope. I had hope for Jesus, or I did. I thought he'd rescue us from the Romans, but he's got a funny way of going about it. While I was clearing some plates at the end, Jesus took bread and wine and said to eat and drink these in remembrance of him, as if he was going to die. Isn't he a miracle worker who can raise people from the dead? I don't know what his game is. Anyway, we need to get this room cleared. Come on.
When Jesus left the upper room, he went into a garden and met the Easter bunny?
No, Bethany, Luke does not say that.
They did an Easter egg hunt?
No. Jesus was arrested by a mob of people from the temple armed with swords and clubs.
But why? Jesus was a kind man who went around healing people and being really brilliant. Why would they do that?
Well, they were really angry that Jesus was claiming to be God. They wanted to have him executed, but they needed the Romans for that.
That's awful.
Yeah. So they took him to Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor. But Pilate couldn't find anything wrong with Jesus, so he said he could be released.
Oh, yay!
But Jesus' enemies whipped up the crowd, and they demanded that he crucify Jesus and release a man called Barabbas instead.
Oh, wow. Lucky old Barabbas.
I've really done it this time. I led rebellion against the Romans. I may have murdered 1 or 2 people. And any day now, they're going to call me and lead me out to crucify me. I tried everything. I tried bribing the guard, threatening the witnesses, blackmailing the judge. None of that worked. Nor did the jailbreak. Here's a tip though. If you're going to hide a big metal file in a loaf of bread, make sure it's a baguette. It's the right shape. My sister tried to hide it in some crusty bread rolls. You can imagine how that went. And the guards ate the bread rolls. Those were mine!
Oi! Who's making all that noise? Quiet, you!
Don't I get a final meal? A last request?
You? A final meal? Not at all. You've done some terrible things, Barabbas. Bad choices. Every one of them. And you're going down if it's the last thing I do.
There's no rescue for me. Not a chance.
By Barabbas. You never guess what. Pilate's changed his mind. Jesus is going to die. Instead, you are going to live. You're free to go.
No, I can't believe it. Jesus dies and I live. Wow, who'd have thought it? Someone as rotten as me goes free.
Oh, it doesn't seem right to me, but no one asks me, do they? No one asks me.
Well, didn't I say when I was locked in here, there's always hope?
No, you said, don't lock me up. Here's your money. Have a bar of soap as well. You stink. Treat yourself.
Well, I may have said that. Well, it's a beautiful day. Let's go.
Oh, Barabbas, he must have been one happy bunny to go free.
Would you please stop talking about bunnies? We need to talk about what happened to Jesus. He was taken to a place called the Skull.
The Skull? Ugh, what happened there?
Well, put it this way. It wasn't an ice cream parlour.
Imagine an ice cream parlour called the Skull. Well, that would get 0 customers.
Yeah, this is the place where Jesus was executed. He was nailed to a big wooden cross and left to die with 2 other criminals.
God, you know what? I can't wait to hear how Jesus gets out of this one.
He didn't. Jesus died.
Oh. But
And there was a centurion there to make sure that the job was done properly.
that is not a very nice job to have.
Well, that's the weirdest day at work I've ever had. Normally, there are 2 types, the mumblers and the screamers. The mumblers have given up hope. Well, because let's face it, there is no hope on a cross, is there? But the screamers, now they're in denial, shouting and yelling at everyone and everything. We had a screamer today. He was yelling at me and this Jesus bloke. I have no idea why Jesus was being crucified. He didn't seem the type, to be honest. He was a mumbler. And you know what he said up there on the cross? He said, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. Well, I do know what I'm doing, my job, but it was a pretty weird thing to say. Anyway, this screamer criminal goes nuts and screams, aren't you supposed to be the true king from God? Save yourself. Oh, and save us too while you're at it. Then this criminal jumps in. Not literally, because, he's on a cross. He says, don't you fear God? We're getting what we deserve. But this man has done nothing wrong. And then, and I'll never forget this, he says to Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. Dream on, dreamer. Jesus is on a cross. No hope. But then Jesus says this to the dreamer. Today, you will be with me in paradise. What's all that about? Jesus can't help anyone from where he is on that cross, and then he dies. So that's the end of that. Weirdest day at work ever. Reminds me a bit of my dad's stories from 30 years ago when he was in Bethlehem. Anyway, it's dinner time. I'm absolutely famished. I've had nothing since a stale, crusty bun this morning. Let's have a look.
Oh, Abigail, what a sad story. Anyway, happy Easter, everyone.
Well, no, that's not the end. There is a serious twist that you do not want to miss.
There is a bunny after all. I love bunnies.
Would you please stop talking about bunnies? If you love bunnies so much, go and watch Watership Down. Actually, no, do not watch Watership Down. Definitely Do not watch Watership Down. Anyway, we need to talk about what happened to Jesus. Back in our story, a man called Joseph of Arimathea took Jesus' body and put it in a tomb.
Right. Well, that doesn't seem like an improvement. This is more death.
Just wait.
1 minute.
Oh, sorry. We're so tired. We're running to Jerusalem.
Because we've seen Jesus. We've actually seen him.
Oh, let's back up. We were on the road to Emmaus, and we were talking about all the stuff that's happened these last few days. And we met this man, and he asked us what we were talking about. So we said, we're talking about Jesus. Where have you been?
But it turns out we were actually talking to Jesus.
Whoa, spoilers.
Sorry.
Spoilers. That's the best bit. So he started telling this guy about Jesus, how amazing he was, and how we'd hoped that he'd rescue us from the Romans. But the temple priest killed him on Friday. And then on Sunday, some of the women went down to the tomb.
But Jesus' body had gone.
He was gone. Anyway, where had he gone? We were so sad and confused.
And then this guy we met on the road explained to us how this whole thing had been planned by God and how the Bible had told us all about this from the very beginning.
And he told us how it wasn't the Romans that we needed saving from. It was our own sin and death and how we could be with God forever.
Mind blown. Mic drop.
So we had a bite to eat with this guy. And as soon as he broke the bread, we realised it was Jesus.
He was alive. We knew it was him.
And all our hopes and dreams were sat there in front of us, eating with us. And then...
Gone. He just disappeared. Can you believe it? Such a brilliant story, though. And it shows that Jesus does live. And there is hope that he can rescue us from our sin and save us. So now we're going back to Jerusalem and we're going to go and tell the others. Come on.
So, does this mean that Jesus is alive now?
Yes! Unlike the Easter Bunny.
Someone killed the Easter Bunny?
No, the Easter Bunny was never... We'll talk about that later. Right now, we need to talk about Jesus. This story is written in Luke's Gospel. It's a history of Jesus' life and death, and then life again. You can read it for yourself.
I might just do that with some chocolate.
Ooh, good idea. Can I have some?
No. Oh, all right then. Let's go and find some. And we should watch that movie. What's it called? Watership Down?
Oh, no, not Watership Down, no!